Hello, neighbors. This is Andy Berry from San Clemente, California. My wife, Jolie, and I are owners at Bay Lake Tower, and you are listening to My DVC Points.
Parents and the children could have fun together.
Please board quickly and safely. Our monorail will be departing momentarily.
Welcome to the My DVC Points podcast. Join the conversation as DVC members share their stories, personal preferences, and magical memories. Your reservation is confirmed. Your fast passes are booked. Pull up on the yellow strap because our journey into the magic of membership is about to begin.
To infinity and beyond.
Now, here's your host and curator of magical stories, Chad Pennycuff.
Welcome home, friends, to episode 25 of the My DVC Points podcast. Today we have a special guest, Mr. Jeff Jorgensen. I first met Jeff when we were both on vacation over at Grand Cal. We had both signed up for Fitness in the Park, the Soaring Tour, and Power Walk in the Park. And through this conversation and friendship, Jeff agreed to help me do a review show on that. When we sat down to do a review show with myself, Laura, and Jeff, Laura came up and said, hey, you normally bring somebody in and do a backstory before they come back in and join you on a review show. I think it'd be a good idea if you did that. So that's how we started the episode. And when we did that, we hit some of the best content that I think I've ever produced in a podcast. We're talking the stuff that is pure Disney gold. The reason why my family is a Vacation Club member. And it's all about getting quality time with our family. The second half of this interview is a lot of fun as well, but it's pure consumerism. It's just coming back in and saying, well, we like this, we don't like this, this could be better, this was awesome, this was phenomenal. And to me, there's room for both of this in our DVC member conversations. But when I come across something that's really gold, I wanted to be able to take a break and address it in the post-show comments. And so I thought it was best to take this interview and separate it into two episodes. So episode 26 will be released shortly after this one. Before we jump into today's show, I want to thank our brand new sponsors, DVC Resale Market. They will take phenomenal care of you. I've bought 6 contracts through them, sold 1. Every single experience was excellent. Go back in and check out Nick Cotton on episode 11 if you'd like to know more about Nick and the background of that company. Also would like to thank Debbie from Vacation Club Loans. If the add-on-itis gets to you, Nick can find you a contract. Debbie can make it happen in terms of the financing. Let's jump into this interview. I'd like to welcome to the show today, Jeff and Laura. How are you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Laura's my wife and appears on the podcast from time to time, but Jeff, this is your first time coming in. So tell us a little bit about your DVC ownership and where you own. And
my wife and I just purchased our first points direct from Disney little under a year ago, and we bought in at Aulani for our first experience. So we haven't done any of the resale stuff yet, but that's definitely something we're looking into because we've already planned on expanding our points and different homes and those kinds of things. We've used our points. We haven't been to Aulani yet, but that's next year for our 10th anniversary. But we have gone to Animal Kingdom Lodge. We've been to Grand Californian, which is where we met you guys. We've also stayed at Bay Lake Tower as well. So we've been using those points as much as we can, but having our points for about a year now, we're still learning the ins and the outs of everything and all the fun things that come with ownership.
Well, very cool. So one, it sounds like you guys have made excellent use of those points with as many places as you've stayed. And the other thing that I picked up there was the add-on-itis is real at your house.
Oh, big time. So my wife and I, like I say, next year's 10th anniversary, we've been having the conversation since we were dating actually about possibly buying in and just starting a family and buying a home and life in general and all that it entails when you first get married and that kind of thing. Finally took us almost 9 years into our marriage, and we were finally able to purchase at Aulani, and we figured Aulani would give us some good flexibility with the amount of points we could buy and that kind of thing. But after staying at Animal Kingdom, there's no way we're not going to add on to Animal Kingdom. That was just too good. And so I'm sure we'll feel the same way after we go to Aulani next year. It's one of those things where it's cool because after so long of talking about it, to finally bring the dream to our home and be able to take our kids and do those things and make those memories. We're already planning a trip after Aulani with more points, hopefully by that time, to take my family and to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge for a few weeks and do that kind of stuff. So we're looking to expand points so that we can expand the amount of people that we share it with.
Oh, excellent. And Laura, I think they're in good company because what did we take? Like 15 years or so to buy in?
Yeah, we took a long time to buy in for a while, and we kind of regret not buying sooner. And I'm with you on the Animal Kingdom, man. Animal Kingdom's the best.
It's so cool. One of the most unique experiences I think we've ever had on a vacation, to the point where we were kind of debating, like, do we go to the theme park today or do we just hang out at the hotel? The lodge was so fun and the animals were cool. And I can honestly say that was the first time we ever ordered room service, and we had breakfast in our room and had everything brought to our room because we didn't want to leave. We just enjoyed being in our room with the animals below. And yeah, so it's definitely on our list.
Now, when you were there, was that Kidani or Jambo?
We stayed at Jambo for the first time. Kidani wasn't available when we went. We just stayed at Jambo that go round. I've been looking and doing a lot of Google research on which of the two is better, and it seems like there's not one that's better than the other. It's just a matter of which preferences you have on different hotels restaurants and pools and things like that. So we'll probably try and shoot for Kidani next time just to experience both sides.
That is definitely true. You can't go wrong with either side there. Now, were you in a studio or a one bedroom this trip?
We did a studio the time we stayed at Animal Kingdom.
Okay. Well, if you upgrade to one bedrooms, the extra bathroom at Kidani, killer.
Okay.
Oh, it's pretty amazing. It literally is 2 full, nice size bathrooms.
Awesome. In fact, I think I was listening to one of the previous podcasts you guys did after we met down in Disneyland. I've been taking notes as I've gone because there's so much awesome information, especially being newbies. And I think one of the things I wrote down was that the bathroom add-on at Kidani is one of the perks to staying there. So
it is. And the pool, if you have little kids, it's quiet at Kidani.
Okay.
Super nice. And they have a wonderful like splash pad area for the kids. And I could stay at Kidani for a week and not go to the park at all. I could sit on that balcony all day long and watch the animals.
Yeah, I think you and my wife could be vacation friends in that regard.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
After about 3 days with the critters, I'm ready to move.
Yeah, I'm the same
that's
way.
about my limit. Yeah, like you said, we got to meet up over at the Grand Californian. So we were both there at the same time, and we had both signed up for membership extras.
Yep.
And we ran into each other. Which one was it first? Fitness in the Park?
It was I can't remember if it was the fitness in the park. It was, if that's what it was called, it was the yoga class. That was the first one. And then the following day we met up at the Soarin' backstage tour.
I was wearing my DVC Points podcast t-shirt and you asked about it, and we just started talking, and come to find out you're a big podcast fan. So after we met up like a couple days, I thought, well, you know what? The number one thing that I see when I ask listeners, what do they want to hear more of, is reviews and feedback on these membership extra experiences. And I thought, well, you know what? You're a podcast liking kind of guy. Let's just see if you're willing to put on a headset and share your story.
Yeah, no, I was pretty excited when you asked me. It's one of those things where after the fact, I was kind of thinking about it. I'm like, this might be kind of intimidating. And then I started listening to the podcast. I'm like, okay, I think I'll be okay. And, not that you guys were intimidating by any means, but I love to listen to them, but actually being part of one was one of those where I was kind of like, wow, this could be kind of cool, but it's also a little bit scary. I don't want to put my foot in my mouth. So,
the magic of editing makes us both sound like rock stars.
Yeah, there is that. So no, I appreciate you guys having me. It's been fun. I've been looking forward to it. And since the trip, life's been a tornado. And so I appreciate your patience while I got everything worked out and finally able to meet up.
Now, you guys live in Utah, right?
Yes, we're in the Salt Lake Valley.
Yeah. Do you consider Disneyland your home park or Disney World?
Disneyland for sure. We were blessed growing up to have grandma and grandpa who they did very well financially. And so to them, instead of leaving an inheritance in cash value, they left an inheritance with us as grandkids and my dad and all his brothers. Our inheritance was vacations and time together as family. So we had at least a once a year trip to Disneyland grandma and grandpa would take us on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was amazing. And, looking back, there are things there's things in life that I can look back and go, yeah, that was okay. And there's not a single trip growing up that I look back on and go, that wasn't amazing and worth the time to go. And In fact, I have photos of my 88-year-old grandmother riding Radiator Springs Racers with us. And that was our last trip. She passed away 2 weeks after we got home. And, so it's like, there's things like that our family was blessed to have. And so because of that, my passion grew around Disneyland because that's where we typically went. And we did do a couple trips to Disney World scattered throughout the years, but it wasn't as consistent. And I'm a big Disney history fan. And so for me, being in the park that Walt built always has that little extra feeling of magic to me. I get teased about it. My wife likes to tease me about it. But to me, when I walk in to Main Street and I see that lamp in Walt's apartment in the firehouse, I always kind of tip my hat as I walk out on our last night in the park, because to me, he started it all. And without him, we wouldn't be talking right now. So Disneyland has always kind of been my home park. But over the last couple of years, we've been able to go to Disney World more frequently. And I think my wife's mentality is changing. She told me the other day with Animal Kingdom Lodge and the Animal Kingdom Park, she said, I think my new favorite home park is Animal Kingdom. It's kind of cool because if she wants to go to Animal Kingdom more often and I want to go to Disneyland more often, now we're just going to need points on both ends of the country. So
I think you do. I think you do.
I know the problem, brother. I know the problem. Okay.
Yep. And it's not even a struggle. You can't even say the struggle is real because it's such a cool thing to be a part of and to experience with our kids on a regular basis. My 6-year-old is a very tender heart. And the other day I walked in her bedroom and she was a little bit weepy. And I was like, what's wrong, Caden? What's going on? And she goes, I just miss the Grand Californian hotels so much. I want to go back. I was like, wow. So I gave her a big hug, and it was one of those tender moments where I was like, we'd never stayed at Grand Californian before, and DVC opened that opportunity for us to do that. And now I have my 6-year-old literally bringing tears to her eyes, thinking about staying at the hotel again. I'm like, that's why we're doing this. So
yeah, that's exactly it. My kids will bring home stuff from school, and it'll be all their writing assignments and things are about Disney and pictures of Mickey. And my son just made a clay pot in art class, and he said he put hidden Mickeys all over it. Like, it was just, they live and breathe it too. It's pretty awesome to see.
And that's what's so fun for me. Like I say, I'm a self-proclaimed Disney nerd, as I'm sure many people that you meet and interact with are.
Hi, my name is Chad.
Yes, exactly. Right. But sharing it with my kids now and seeing them get that bug and them want to not leave the park when it's time to go home. It's like, my evil plan is working. It's so, but.
Well, I look at this and I hear stories of like your grandparents. Mm-hmm. And as I plan out my next 30, 40, 50 years, if I'm lucky, I want to be that grandparent.
Oh, okay? Absolutely.
And the DVC points and the contracts that we own will let us hit quite a bit of that. Some of them are going to expire before then, but there's a good chance we're going to be taking our grandkids to Disney on these points. And that's something we seriously look forward to.
It's like you said, to me, that's that goal, right? It's having awesome examples of that with my grandma and grandpa and understanding and appreciating as I've gotten older in life. When I was younger, you don't really understand what it takes to get a group of 20 or 30 people to Disneyland. And now I look back at it and I go, it was truly a labor of love for my grandma to do that. And then to transition from my thinking of, oh, cool, we're going to Disneyland again, to now looking back going, that wasn't just going to Disneyland. That was literally what they were leaving me with. I talked to my grandpa about it the other day. He's still kicking. He's almost 94 now. And
oh, wow.
I was talking to him about it and he said, yeah, it's nice to hear you finally understand that it wasn't just a vacation. Aww. And that it was something we wanted you guys to appreciate. And he goes, and the fact that you're doing it with your kids, he goes, that's even better. And so he's not able to go with us anymore just because of his health and that kind of thing, obviously being the age that he is. But, it's been really cool. And especially to have those conversations with him now and, have that shared understanding as to why they were doing it and why it was so important to them. And now going, I get it. And because I got it from you guys, it's important to me to do that with my kids and my grandkids. So.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll play back this episode to Grandpa. And I just want to tell him, thank you for inspiring me and inspiring all the other listeners for a life well played. I mean, stories like that are what motivates us to keep, making the DVC payments and the dues and putting up with all of this kind of fun fast pass stuff. It's all about the memories and the kids and investing in them and experiences versus plastic toys that just they play with 5 minutes and they break and they're gone.
Right. Yep, exactly. So no, and I appreciate that, and I will. I'm going to play it back with him and listen to it. And, it's kind of fun because all the years that he took us, now it's kind of our turn we're trying to prove to him that it wasn't for naught. It wasn't just him taking us on a free trip or that kind of thing. It's, we go over there and take him dinner and those kinds of things, and our kids go and play. And that's all they talk about with Grandpa is, hey, remember when we were at Disneyland and we did this? Or remember when Grandma rode that ride and it made you mad because you were afraid she couldn't do it? And, those kinds of things. And because on that last trip, like I say, she wanted to ride every single ride. And she was not going to be turned down. So he would sit over on the chair and hold her purse like he'd been doing for almost 70 years. And she would go on rides with us.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Laura suggested that I ask you my standard rapid fire questions.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Dole Whip or Mickey Bar?
Dole Whip.
Churro or Mickey Pretzel?
Probably churro, but I'd say yes to either.
Well, being a Disneyland guy, the churros there are 10 times better. I got to give you that one.
That's true.
Now,
yeah, the churros there are fantastic.
Now that I've been to both, I kind of have to realize that this is more of a Disney World question, but it's poncho or umbrella.
So when we go Disney World, we're all about the poncho. The cheap 99-cent Walmart ponchos are the best for us.
Excellent. Because there in Disneyland, it just doesn't rain. Okay.
No. No, it really doesn't.
It's just sunny and beautiful all the time and no humidity. It's the bomb. So,
yep.
Okay. Do you wear ears or rock a t-shirt?
I'm more of a t-shirt guy, but I do ears with my daughters on occasion. So.
Oh, dude, hats off. Real men rock Mickey ears.
Yeah, I like them, but for me, by the end of the day, I find that I'm putting them in the backpack, and where the t-shirt I'm definitely able to wear all day, obviously. But I love getting a new pair of ears. In fact, I save them all. I have all of my ears from when I was a kid. And when I have my office finished downstairs, I'm going to have a little shelf that I put all my ears on, and they all have my name on them. And it's fun to see because I remember each trip based on which ears they were and those kinds of things.
Really cool. Now, what's your favorite park?
Disneyland's my favorite park. Do you want his favorite land part of that, or is that more?
That's the next question.
Oh, sorry. I'm jumping ahead. I apologize.
No worries. So Disneyland for the favorite park. What's your favorite land?
Cars Land is my favorite.
All right. Mine as well.
Yeah.
That Radiator Springs is amazing.
To me, there is nothing better than sitting at Flo's Cafe out on the outdoor seating and having dinner in the nighttime when all the neon's lit up and you're watching those cars cruise through and the mountains are lit up. That to me that's my happy place in the California Adventure Park.
That being said, now what's your favorite attraction?
Ooh, that's tough. Show attraction is Fantasmic. Attraction for ride is easily Splash Mountain.
Okay, now Fantasmic, world or land? Because they're slightly different.
Disneyland. I like being up close. And quite honestly, this is another cool thing. Grandma and Grandpa, thank you to them again. I was there opening night. I was 12 years old. The very first night Fantasmic played at Disneyland Park. So the very first Fantasmic that ever showed, I was there. I got to see it. And so because of that, that's always been a big part of why I like the Disneyland Fantasmic more so than Disney World.
Really cool. Now, where is the best place on property to relax and enjoy a drink or a dessert? And we'll see if Flo still holds this title.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a tough one. I definitely like Flo's for that because it's kind of off the beaten path. But my favorite place to eat, though, and just kind of unwind is Rancho del Zocalo by Big Thunder Mountain Railroad over in Disneyland Park because I love Mexican food. And so sitting over there is a lot of fun, too. And we usually eat there a couple times. And it's kind of hidden away, too, and it's a little bit quieter. So that's usually where we kind of do our reset.
Yeah, I just noticed that on my last trip. I don't know. I don't know why I haven't done that. I mean, I was there 5 days this last trip with an AP. I could have easily went in there.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it's awesome. So
we'll have to hit that on our next trip.
Yeah, I definitely recommend it.
How often have you been to the Disneyland resorts?
Oh, boy. Honestly, that's a tough one to answer. We had annual passes for about 10 years. And at the end of those years, when we kind of transitioned to not renewing the annual passes and just buying the tickets when we went to give us a little more flexibility to go to like San Diego with our trip and things like that. I had spent almost 200 days in the Disneyland parks over those 10 years.
Wow.
But again, that's hard to say because some years we went once, some years we went twice, some years we went 3 times. And that also doesn't include the time when I was younger before we started buying annual passes. I wish I could give you a better number because I'd like to know how many times I've been. But
too many to count is always a good number.
Yeah.
Right?
And I've been to Disney World. I've done 5 times.
I was asking that just because my next leading question would be, how many times have you stayed at Disney hotels in Disneyland?
So that's another cool thing that DVC's kind of opened up. When my wife and I were dating, we went to Disneyland and we toured the Grand Californian, just walked through it, self-tour, I guess, if you want to call it that. And my wife said, this is my bucket list. This is where I want to stay. And since then, we stayed at Paradise Pier. We stayed at Disneyland Hotel. And these are all within the last 3 years or so. And then this last trip, we finally were able to stay at the Grand Californian for the whole week. So Disneyland properties, I've only actually stayed on property 3 times. Or no, 4 times because we stayed at Disneyland Hotel twice. Typically, we were doing the Good Neighbor Hotel thing growing up. Again, the big families. Our last trip with my whole family, there was 37 of us. And so getting rooms for 37 people, the Good Neighbor hotels were a little bit more cost efficient. So
I would imagine. Holy.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah. Getting fast passes for that many people is a lot of fun too.
I was just thinking, I'm the fast pass planner for, Chad does the resort stays. I do the fast passes. And I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with 11 for the summer. And I'm thinking 37.
Yeah. The one beauty of Disneyland's fast pass system, though, all the years that it's been around, is in Disney World where you do it all pre-planned and you can only get 3 and then a 4th if you have the ability to do so. Disneyland, it was always kind of cool because we'd get in the park and then all 35 plus of us would give their ticket to me because I was the guy who could maneuver by myself while all the strollers followed. And I would run from one attraction to another and get fast passes while the group went to another ride. And now, obviously, the Max Pass has changed that. But yeah, the Disneyland Fast Pass is always kind of a fun comparison because Disney World is such a different animal when you're getting that many Fast Passes for people.
Oh, yeah, I can't even imagine. That would be a challenge.
Oh, for sure.
We recorded this episode in April of 2019. While Jeff and I had every intent on playing this back to his grandfather, unfortunately, between the time we recorded and the time I could get this thing edited and published, Dick Jorgensen passed. Part of the significance of this episode was such fine family memories that Dick and Irene was able to create for their kids and their family. Guys, we can talk about the best steak on property and the best rooms and the best views and how to get the best fast passes. But at the end of the day, that's not the stuff that matters. It's fun, and I want us to all have fun. But what I really want you to take away from this episode is the deep family memories and relationships that Disney helps us create. One of the iTunes reviews that came in this week from Ronaldo was, "This is by far the best DVC podcast available. I love hearing how members use their membership. It helps us during that time between trips." And I've heard from many other families as well that part of what they enjoy about the podcast is they talk about it as a family. And that right there is great quality family time between Disney trips. Normally at the end of each show, I come up with some kind of an ask. This week, my ask is a little different. My ask is for you to connect with your grandparents, your parents, the people that took you to Disney growing up, and thank them. And see if you can figure out some way of using your membership to create these family memories that Dick and Irene did for their family. Thanks for listening and have a magical day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please watch your head and step as you exit, and take small children by the hand.
Aw, chill up, Dad. You know we'll come back. With DVC.
My DVC Points is an unofficial Disney-inspired podcast created by fans of Disney Vacation Club. The thoughts expressed in this podcast are personal opinions and personal experiences. My DVC Points is not affiliated with Disney Vacation Club, the Walt Disney Companies, or any subsidiaries. We encourage listeners to contact their DVC guide or member services for official DVC policies.